behind the scenes, and today I'm going to be painting the reed frog medicine walk, and I'm going to prep this page and just talk you through my process. So welcome in my studio. It is me, your pilgrimage guide, Gideon. I'm setting up my camera so I can begin filming this medicine walk. So some of you guys have asked me to show you how I produce or create my medicine walk. And today is Friday, and it is Share Your Art Friday, in my world at least. Around our campfire on Facebook, it is definitely a Share Your Art Friday kind of vibe. Alrighty, I think the camera is clean. It is a whole process that I've learned to develop over the last 8 years of my creatively fit coach journey. We'll come back to this scene when the paper is stretched. Let me make it a little bit smaller. Yes, that feels correct. Alrighty, we'll get into the paint just now. First, first things first. Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. Say hello. Tell me where you're watching from. I'm always curious. I'll adapt now there. There's always some setup things that I wish I changed after the fact, but we'll just go with the flow. So what I've done is I have printed the field journal page for the painted reed frog that we are walking with this week in St. Lucia wetlands, and I printed that design on 300 GSM watercolor paper, and it prints beautifully. So that gives us a very nice line work to work with, because my entire idea as a creativity coach is to empower you, not so much to worry about how to draw and things like that, because I know that there are a lot of you in my audience that absolutely would love to paint along, but you are restricted with technical skills, drawing skills, tools, or an understanding of how to compose a sort of landscape like this. So I wanted to make it easier for everyone. So I've done the design work for you, and I've created these beautiful field journal pages that you can get on my Patreon on the paying tiers. And you can just download it and you can print it out on watercolor paper like this. You can crop the image any way that you see fit. I always just use a little bit of the page on the side so people can see on the video that this is from that page. And it gives me space around the paper to still stick it down and stretch the paper. But you can also print it out on canvas. I mean, can you imagine a beautiful, I don't know, what's this? Let's see. Yeah, it's like a 26 centimeters by 33 centimeters. I mean, those kind of A4 kind of size canvases can work very nicely. And you take it to your printer, especially those that do printing on canvas. You just have to take them the image, mail it to them, share it on a USB stick with them. Luckily, in our modern world, most of these printer places allow you just to WhatsApp it or send it via an email to them as a JPEG image. So then they can just transfer it to their equipment and print it on a canvas for you. So then the line work is done. That's sort of the bottom line. That's the whole idea. And then you can make with this whatever you want. There's no prescription, there's no expectation, there's no paint along, there's no do what I do. You can just use this as an adult coloring book for that matter and throw whatever color speaks to you in the moment. That is what we find meaningful. As I always say, painting is not the medicine. Painting is the portal. It takes us into our left brain where we can become present and just allow color to flow and speak to us. What is the medicine is the meaning that you derive from the exercise and from the end product. And that feedback that comes back to you in so many ways can either, be a negative feedback where you tell yourself, oh, that doesn't look nice, but become aware of those messages because those are the kind of self criticism that prevents you from stepping into the dream of your life. So, if you like the end product, if you enjoyed the process, then that's the feedback that you give yourself. But besides the fact it has so many health and mental health benefits to have a creative practice. So, as a creativity coach, as a self taught artist, I like to just give everyone an opportunity to play along, because this is what it's supposed to be play, not product. So, anyway, just to bring you into my world, I'm just going to cut some of the paper off here because I need place to stick it down on this cutting board that I like to use just to secure my paper, to stretch it. So I'm going to go ahead, use my paper cutter and my metal ruler, and I'm just going to remove excess paper on the outside so that I have space to stick this paper down. I've done this before without stretching the paper. So if you just want to do like wet on dry techniques, you don't necessarily have to stretch the paper, especially 300 GSM watercolor paper, because it's a very thick cardstock. So you don't have to stress. It will buckle a little bit, but not a lot. Exciting. I'm excited about this particular watercolor painting today for the medicine walk because of the color scheme. I quite enjoyed deciding on the color scheme because the frog photo, the original photograph of this painted reed frog that you find here in the wetlands of KwaZulu Natal, is like this chartreuse green um, or olive green kind of froggy. And I thought I didn't just want, green water and green foliage and green everything because then you won't really see the frog. So, if you know me at all, you might know that I enjoy complementary color schemes because I feel it really gives you an opportunity to create some vibrancy and beautiful pop of color. So, I decided on a purple and green color scheme for the palette, and I thought that would be a great idea. And it worked out rather well. So now today I'm going to be very excited because I'm going to be painting with those colors in watercolor on this watercolor paper. And I'm going to try and recreate the scene, but in my own way. This is also a practice for me. It's not just a demonstration for you guys to enjoy, but it is also my practice. I literally bring you into my creative practice and I share it with you raw and real. I don't pretend, to know everything and know exactly what I'm going to do and how it's going to turn out. This isn't rehearsed, this is live. So this is just painter's tape and I'm just using it to stick my paper down on this cutting mat. And this is what I would do with any of my watercolor paintings, especially because I like using wet into wet techniques to start with. Um, and for that, it just helps to lock the paper down so that it doesn't buckle. And usually, when I do a more professional painting, this gives me a little bit of a framer's edge around the paper as well. And it's so satisfying at the end when you're done with your painting to pull this painter's tape off. I'm just scoring it right against the paper to seal it. Just from using my nail. My nail artist is going to kill me because he always tells me your nails aren't tools. And that might be true. They're works of art. I'm supporting another nail artist on my nail art, and I just love that. It might not be for you. It's okay. I'm not asking you to do it. I love doing it. And I'm a stylist. My day job is I'm a stylist. I've been a stylist for 34 years. And I've got my own salon in Wonderboom, Pretoria. And if I'm not in my salon doing hair, then I'm in my studio producing the portal journey for you guys that you enjoy every day on all of my social media platforms. And it gives us these beautiful encounters with nature. And I've learned early on in my life that there's a certain medicine that can be derived from our ecosystem and from all the animals, insects, and plants that we find in it. Because every animal, every living thing exists according to a sacred divine creation code. And that includes you. But sometimes, we've got these ideas, beliefs, especially inherited beliefs that we've received through our culture and our families that we were born into, where we live on the planet. And that influences our belief systems, our understanding and experience of the world around us. And if you've been around for a few years like me, then you get to a point where you start to recognize patterns around you. And those patterns of choices and behavior literally create and manifest the life that you are living at the present moment. And all of your beliefs, your core beliefs, your values, your biases, your traumas, all of those things influence these choices and decisions and what becomes available to you in the present moment. So you might see that as limitation because you only are exposed to a certain amount of choices within each day, and that falls within this framework of core beliefs and values. And sometimes we dream outside of those restrictions. Not sometimes, I think most of the time. I think that's the whole sort of point of our human existence is this inner drive to find meaning. And we find meaning looking forward and in the present moment on the path that unfolds. And sometimes through our experience, we see other possibilities. And your imagination is where that portal opens. And when you start using your imagination and you start to imagine other possibilities for your life, those possibilities can become real, can become your experience, but it cannot fully manifest into your life yet because you are living in this life with choices and circumstances that is part of your journey. So if you want to change your experience, you have to first change yourself. You don't change your life by fixing or changing anything outside of yourself, at least not initially. You do the changes through introspection, through awareness within yourself, by exploring your core beliefs, your core values, and becoming aware which of them is no longer serving you. It's where, at least where you want to head, it is not supporting that journey. So if you want to have that journey, you need to sometimes be willing to look at what is no longer serving you and begin to embody and bring into your identity where it is that you are headed, that you want to go. And I think the unfortunate thing is that, we get taught from a young age that, the path that is set before you is the one you walk, you don't question it, and you just keep walking. And I think so many people are so unhappy in life because they are living their parents' dreams for them, or other people's expectations, trying to keep everyone happy, um, all of the above. And that can lead to this feeling of what's the point? It's not always fulfilling. And the reason why it's not fulfilling is because you're not living your own purpose. You're living other people's expectations of you. So it really is an important aspect of personal growth in your life to really become aware of those core beliefs and values and see the ones that's no longer serving you and begin to change that and see what does fit, what does feel right for you. No permission needed from outside. And begin to embody that. And as it becomes part of your identity and your core belief system and your core values, so your life will begin to reflect that. It has no choice. So, yeah, the portal journey here is really for that awareness and to give you an opportunity to recognize something within yourself that you might have missed previously. So, the journey with our beautiful animals is taking us into these amazing ecosystems. And we realize that everything works in this ecosystem because it is in its place, it is where it belongs. And this particular read frog this week was teaching us to listen. Can you imagine this ecosystem? And there are hundreds, thousands of these little frogs in this ecosystem, and they all have their own little space. They don't sit on top of each other and infringe upon each other because their success is recognizing their own space within this ecosystem. And the sort of radius of where their sound reaches when they do use their voice is sort of how they define their perimeter or define their boundaries, and that is how their mate can find them, because their mate can look and listen to individual um, croaking and songs around this beautiful ecosystem and then be attracted to the one that is meant for them. So that is really beautiful. So this is what this week is trying to teach us, to maybe not always speak louder, scream louder, grab everything that comes past, jump on every bandwagon. It is to become still enough, to know yourself well enough in order to know when it is the right moment to speak up and to let your voice be heard. So that's sort of what this is all about. Right. So I think for this first layer, I am going to just prepare some color here. Let me get my brushes. I like to use these squirrel brushes. And oh yes, I also have received this in a new set of watercolor from a friend. It's called Pearlescent Colors from Fine Tech, and this is this beautiful peacock collection. And I actually quite enjoyed working with it when I did the peacock, or not the peacock, the flamingo of last week. We must still do a peacock. And this is made in Germany, and I'm quite impressed with the pigment. Um, Sometimes when you work with metallic pigments, it sort of overpowers everything because it always wants to sort of go to the top of the layers, but I found this one mixes beautifully with my other pigment just to create some shimmer and this beautiful granulation. So I'm going to continue playing with it because there's some beautiful purple in here and gold. And I wanted to maybe use some of this pearlescent here on the water lily as well. So let's start by mixing some color. Just want to clean some of these wells. I usually clean it before I start, but I thought I'm going to use these colors that's on here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. So nice to spend some time with you all. Right. I think I'm gonna start with this beautiful dark Sazine purple, one of my favorites. And I don't always get a chance to work with it because it's not always the right color for a painting unless you're doing florals or things like that. And I also like to sort of mix my colors in these little wells before the time. Because if you work straight from the pan onto your paper, you create a value of color that's very stark and very hard. And watercolor really uses the medium of water to soften and lighten up and make it more translucent so that you can build it up in layers. And that looks more interesting. So without overworking this image today, I am really just going to do a first wash of color and just bring everything into focus. And then with a second layer, I will bring in some contrast, work on some shadows, and just finish off, bring a focus into the image where it is needed. This was just a beautiful sap green, and then this beautiful chartreuse I'm going to reserve for the frog. And that's basically the color scheme. What shall I add? I think I must add a bit of ultramarine blue because the scene is cooler, but the night sky might be a little bit warmer. So there I might use this rose, permanent rose, maybe a little bit of violet just to cool it down a little bit. Make it like a violet red. And then later I'll do this sort of halo, and I sort of added this mandala behind the animal guide of the week, and that sort of speaks to this beautiful um, frequency of joy and of attunement to your environment. It sort of represents the sound waves that the frog is making with its beautiful song, but at the same time, it's giving him this beautiful presence that there is medicine here to be learned. So that's going to be fun. Okay, so I'm going to dive in. I might even add a little bit of this just to warm it up slightly and give it a bit of a shimmer. Now, usually I missed my watercolors before I start. I forgot this morning, seeing that I am starting here with a behind the scenes moment. And I think I'm going to also water my entire page to start this first wash and just let that water catch here and there and do its own thing. Fabulous. Oh yes, I wanted the moon to be very light, almost golden. So let's start with that. Nice. And for color harmony, I like to sort of just take the color that I'm using somewhere else. Let's see how strong is this dark in purple. Perfect. It's not too dark. It is a night scene, so the purple is going to make sense to you just now. Oh, I forgot my tissue paper. Give me a second. That's better. So when there's like rivers of water on my paper, I'll just use a tissue paper just to pick up some of the color that's too much. It feels good. Just using a damp brush to blend some things away there. Cool. Oh, my doggy is at the door. He wants to say hello. I have three Dachshunds, and if I become too quiet in the studio, then I think I'm done recording. But my little boy, oh, he loves to just get up on the desk and say hello. You might have noticed him in some of my previous videos. I don't always edit it out because I think sometimes it's cute and it makes it relatable. So we're having a complete season swing here in temperature. It's still August. It's supposed to still be winter. Officially, it's spring on the 1st of September, but we had that last cold spell last week, and since then it's really been heating up. We already hit the first 30-degree kind of temperatures for the season. So I think it's going to be a hot one if I see what happened in Europe and in America. So you can see this is really not about perfection. It is about just expressing yourself and just using the line work as a way to guide you through the scene. And I'm just using my brush to pick up droplets that's maybe a little bit too much. Nice. Now I'm going to go for this green on the lily pads. And if the colors touch next to the purple, that's okay because some of these greens will be reflected in the environment as well. Allow watercolor to do what it does best. And I've learned over the years that sometimes watercolor by itself can paint something better than you can imagine if you just lean into the magic of the watercolor and what the pigment wants to do, then amazing things begin to happen. Nice. I'm going to add some ultramarine blue to this violet. It's just really going to cool it down. And plan all the shadow areas with a blue violet, which is going to just read as deeper, cooler, darker. I might even go ahead and add some of this carbon black to it from this metallic range and maybe a little bit of this blue. Ooh. Things in the distance will be darker, less descriptive. I'm going to allow this darker, bluer color just to do that talking for me, tell that story. It's maybe a little bit hard, so let's go and pick some of that up. Just work that horizon line in, let it disappear off the page. So because you've got a clear light source, which is the moon, the shadows will be on the opposite side of whatever is floating on the water. And there will be shadows, reflections. That's not necessarily crystal clear. It's almost like mirages in the water. I think that's lovely. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pick some of the color up here beneath the moon, just so that it's a little bit lighter there. I think that is a very good start. So I want to invite you guys, if you want to see the rest of this beautiful medicine walk, then join me this weekend on my channel and on my Patreon, because that is where we are going to be launching this beautiful portal journey this Sunday for the Frog Creative Art Journey that is going to be available exclusively to my Patreons. And that's just going to be a fantastic, beautiful pilgrimage with the frog, and we're going to learn about the medicine of adaptation, adapting to our environment, adapting in our attitude. You can see how this is going to go. So, the medicine that this painted reed frog is teaching us this week is just how to be attuned to ourselves and our environment. And I am so excited to share that with you guys. So, do check out this beautiful offering. There are some beautiful links for you to explore beneath this video. I want to thank you for tuning in today and for sharing a few moments with me behind the scenes. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. So keep walking, create with purpose, and live with meaning. I'll see you guys again real soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye for now.